So our first guest joining us today is Matt Jacks, Channel Manager of Commercial Integrators with Lutron. After having assisted thousands of customers in recognizing the significance of lighting controls, he's committed to educating industry professionals about the invaluable impact of both lighting controls and connected systems. Matt also brings a strong focus of emphasizing the importance of energy conservation while still enhancing functionality to simplify our hectic everyday lives. So I want to give a big thank you to Matt for sitting down with us today.
Thank you very much,
Thank you so much, Matt.
I'm
sure you have enjoyed the show so far. What are your thoughts of ISC on day 3?
I mean, it's overwhelming, always, right? It's a fantastic experience. Talking to Ben before, it's just a real shame I don't get the chance to spend so much time out looking at things, right? I used to spend a lot of time in a previous life actually touring and walking the show, seeing the new technology, talking to people. Now I just go on a stand and talk to lots of people for all day, like 4 days. So, yeah, pretty crazy.
It's very important to preserve your voice. So.
Very much so, yes.
So Lutron has a fine pedigree in the residential market.
Yeah.
So how does your wealth of experience then translate into value for the Pro AV market?
Yeah. So I mean, since the early days when we launched our first product in '61, which is the world's first dimmer, I mean, we've always done commercial, right? It's been done in a different way. So in some way, the value that we created was all the way through our 60-year journey, our 60-plus year journey. So, understanding about reliability, when you look at lighting controls in a commercial application, arguably in a home as well, it's got to work, right? It's really important. Reliability is foundational. But also when we look at how we're changing a space, or we're changing how we're using that space, what we put in to replace, say, a switch, has got to be as easy to understand. It's got to be intuitive. So controls need to be reliable and intuitive, right? So regardless of application, that's our value, right? We understand that. We really have spent a long time honing that pedigree. And I think that's the real value we can bring to the table, to make it easy and reliable to use.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I understand that for the first time you'll be showing both a residential and a commercial integrated space on your stand. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about the sort of differences between the two and how that works?
Yeah, I mean, look, the two vignettes as they are on the stand, one's a sort of lounge area and the other one's kind of like a small meeting room space. I think they are great places for us to narrate the benefit of lighting control to somebody who doesn't know who we are, right? And I think let's be clear, there are thousands, tens of thousands of people at the show, from all across the world, many of whom maybe know our brand or maybe don't even know our brand. They certainly don't know the value in those two applications, or if they maybe know resident and a commercial, and many in between, right? So I met loads of great potential dealers for us that I wouldn't have spoken to that come from event lighting, for example, and specialist lighting. So it's the value we bring in many ways is for everyone, for everywhere, and it's just about allowing everyone to understand they have access and come and talk to us, right?
Yeah, and I guess it's important as well to have a space that you can really sort of show it off, because I mean I've been lucky enough to visit the showroom that you've got in London. I know that's kind of a big part of your role is managing that experience and showing customers through. And as I say, I was lucky enough to do a tour, the whole choreograph thing. It was amazing, and to be honest, it did really help me understand a bit better about that, how it all works together.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, light is more than what you see. It's a feeling, right? It creates ambience. I mean, look around us. We're surrounded by experiential technology everywhere in every hall. And we're exactly the same, right? So, I put all the components out on the table for the things that make it happen, and you're like, And then you show it working, and you're like, oh, okay, get it. No, so you've got to see it, right? So.
Yeah, good stuff.
And as you were talking about, it creates a feeling. Obviously, there's value that's created by controlling lighting. So as a newbie to the industry, can you talk a little bit about that and how does that actually happen?
Yeah, that's great. So, look, at a really simplistic level, lighting adds value in two ways, right? So, it's or control of light, from Lutron's perspective. We save money by dimming lights. There's our simple benefit. We allow things to last longer and be more flexible in a built environment, whether it's a workplace or a gym or a restaurant or whatever. So, that value there is really, I suppose, could be encapsulated in energy. And that's quantifiable, right? So, 10% dimmed is a 10% saving, and that has a number attached to it. Then, of course, the other side of the coin is experiential. So, if I look at the modern workplace, and let's take an application like a meeting room. Pre-COVID, a meeting room was fairly mundane. It would be used for one thing. We'd have a meeting, and that'd be great. But it had that one task, so I didn't need to change the ambience too often. now I have at least 2 or 3 applications in a meeting room, of which maybe a video conference is one or presentation. I mean, look around. Presentation's not the same as I'd have for, say, a collaboration meeting. The light both naturally and artificially. And of course, for those who don't know, on TV, we're the largest, or one of the largest manufacturers of automated window treatment. So blinds and curtain tracks, and the fantastic world of controlling natural light is seamlessly integrated into our world. So that means we can create that perfect ambience, that perfect light for those specific applications, whether in a meeting room or an open plan space like a town hall, or like I say, a restaurant, where it is important, right? It's the difference sometimes between winning a job and not winning a job, or having a great night out with friends. You think about that as yourself, right? You've been out in Barcelona, I'm sure you've had some lovely evenings, right?
Yes,
and those
yes.
are clearly defined by light, so a great experience is often associated with those things,
Yeah, definitely, and sort of anecdotally, to make sure I keep myself in tip-top shape, I went to a pharmacy across the road to get some, vitamin C stuff, and the lighting, it was just like walking into a light box. It was insane. I felt like I was under a microscope, and that was it really made a big difference. Obviously, they want to display their products, but it was a bit overkill. So, speaking of customer needs, though, in terms of how Lutron can help customers reach things like sustainability goals, I guess you have a part to play there as well.
Yeah.
Can you sort of talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so for me, it's kind of 2 parts to sustainability. There's sustainable manufacture, the embodied carbon in a product, which I think the whole industry of technology is on a journey, right? We're no different. And that's going to be hard work for us all, right? I think the real benefit of Lutron is in operation. So, as I say, dimming saves money. Dimming increases the life of a luminaire. I think when our founder started in '61, he found this fantastic story that I love recounting. So, if I dim a light 10%, clearly I save 10% of the energy. Let's say it's 10 watts, so that's 1 watt back in my pocket. Also, in an old world, in a filament lamp, I'd double its life, 10%. If I dim it 20%, say 20%, but also quadruple its life. Now, LED is not as profoundly beneficial in longevity, but it has an impact, right? So running it less aggressively, less warm, or less hot rather, less hard, means it will last longer. And that means I don't have to take things out of the ceiling, throw them in the waste, and I can make things last a lot longer, delicately controlling and managing that experience over time. So
and those small increments, they add up at the end.
They really do, and they're compound, right? So we talked about that when you came in. So I can dim a bit, I can time it. So you can take spaces which are using huge sums of energy, and just by operationally tweaking the way they work, you can save maybe 50, 60, 70, who knows, right? The sky's the limit on how much energy you can save.
Yeah.
So sustainability key for the way we operate a building. But also we need to make sure we build these things sustainably as well, and that's a journey we're on as well.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I wish we had more time. I have so many more questions for you.
Yeah, I mean, time flies when you're having fun. Speaking of flying, I gather you're straight into a taxi and off to. So this was the cherry on your ISE cake.
Absolutely right. I've been looking forward to it all week. It's been really been a great experience for me to be more involved in the content creation. I've done a couple of presentations and.
Yeah, you join us on the podcast as well, the ISE Backstage Pass. That was great. Lutron sponsored a webinar as well.
Yeah, that was great. It was really good fun. I think we've got a panel event just afterwards as well. So, if you don't get a chance to pop by the stand, 2J350, come and see it, because seeing is believing. Then maybe come in and listen in on the panel event that's coming up.
Well, that was going to be my test, the final test. What's your booth number? Give it to us again.
2J350.
2J350, excellent. Well, if you want to go and see Matt and the team at the Lutron stand, maybe you might catch him just before he goes to the airport, but if not, the team will be there to assist him. So thank you so much, Matt, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.